Hello, my name is Renee Kendrick, and I'm in your Tourism 205 class on Tuesdays at 3, the hybrid. So I'm first going to talk about Module 1, and the question is, what do you know about the isms of tourism that you did not know prior to coming in class, and why should the terms travel and tourism be considered separately? So I learned a lot to understand about the factors that go into tourism that isn't just travel. So obviously there's good and bad aspects of tourism. You have like people acknowledging the environment, but you also have things like sex tourism and the impact it has on communities. And so it's important to know the difference between that and traveling, because traveling is just going somewhere, but tourism is the complicated web that goes into the marketing, the service, this like sex slavery that goes on, and all of the other aspects of tourism. The next question is, where should a tourism practitioner go for reliable global tourism data and statistics? And why is this preferred? So I said the first person to go to would probably be a travel agent, because they get updated on all the travel trends and the statistics, and also a lot of government agencies have tourism stats on their website, so those are good resources to look at. And then what are a few current and longer standing trends that you think tourism practitioners should know about? I think one in particular that really stood out to me was over-tourism, and how much it can affect the areas that people are going to, like the Great Barrier Reef and other natural resources like all the national parks. And people need to be aware of where they're going and how how them going to this place is going to affect the area. And I think that's really relevant right now, especially with the huge boom of doom tourism that's happening. The next module I'm going to talk about is Module 3, and the question is, why is it important to understand the history of exploration, tourism development, and transportation innovations as a tourism learner and practitioner? And how does the past impact how people perceive tourism and relate to tourists in a modern era? And I think it's really important to learn the history of tourism so we can understand trends, because we can look back and understand how tourism evolved, and also like what's gone wrong in the past, what's gone right in the past with tourism, and how we can reflect on that and move forward and be successful in creating like a strong tourism what's the word I'm looking for? Economy. Economy. And also tourism has evolved throughout the years, but human trends haven't changed much, such as popularity, and how I talked about over-tourism a little earlier, and how people see what's popular and they flock there, and this also even happened back in the Renaissance era with the Grand Tour. So it's kind of cool to go back and see what has changed about tourism and also what has not changed. And then I also did Module 7. So what are some ways that tourism could be optimized versus maximized so that the environment and the ability to live in and travel to a destination will be available to future people? So I said to start small in that local city. Like, cities need to start taking responsibility and find solutions so that when tourists comes in, there's already implementations for sustainability, such as composting, recycling, renewable energy sources, and all of these can be changed and upgraded, especially in developed countries, which need to be taking the accountability first, because we have those resources and we just haven't started to use them yet. I also believe that permits for attractions would really help with over-tourism, because instead of just allowing as many people to go to these places at once and them getting damaged and degrading at an accelerated rate, if we had permits for these locations and just a limited amount of people who could go in there, it would really help lessen the impact that tourists are having on the area. And also market other attractions that have been less popular in the past that can kind of pull people away from these more popular attractions. So like finding other nature spots, like national parks that have less people who go to them every year, and kind of pulling them away from the big ones like Yellowstone and other national parks like that. And then for my conclusion, um, I think this course really changed my perspective on tourism a lot because I've never really studied it. And so I learned a lot about how to travel responsibly and how to do the research that you need to do beforehand and how to like go somewhere and adapt to the culture. Like you're traveling into somebody's home, and so it's important to experience their culture and not kind of be stuck in what you're used to. And this can really improve your experience wherever you're traveling. And also it helped me learn about the difference between travel and tourism because I've been traveling my whole life, but I've never really considered myself a tourist, but now I definitely do because everything I do when I'm traveling still plays into the whole tourism aspect with the tourism market and the economy. And I think one thing that is really important to me is learning how to travel sustainably and responsibly. And I think after taking this class, it's going to be really important for me to look into that and look how I can start making changes so that, people in future generations still have the opportunities to see the things that I have. Thank you.